worked on this development originally. It actually got approved, as you mentioned, back in 2007. August 1st of 2007, it got approved for a previous owner. It was Tuck Buffum, the Buffum Family Trust. Had gone through quite a process there was a large donation as part of this as well. There was a large, but I believe it was like a 38-acre parcel that was extended. It's kind of in the northwestern portion. Not on this piece. This is the remainder of what's left, but there was a 38-acre piece that was donated to the land trust as part of this development as well. And it's a 4-lot minor subdivision. It's a private road, private driveway, not even a road, just a private driveway to the 4 lots. It had received extensions through March 23rd of 2019. Since that time, Mr. Robenheimer has purchased the property from the Buffums and is looking to build homes as quickly as possible. I know typically the question we hear on extensions is, are we just getting another extension just to keep extending it? But Mr. Robenheimer is very eager to actually to build these homes on the property as well. The property itself, as I mentioned, has 4 single-family residential homes on there. It's directly off Barbers Pond Road. The systems themselves the septic systems are also denitrifying septic systems, so all Advantex pre-treatment, and they go to bottomless sand filters as well. The zoning for the property is R80, but has the reduced size lots with open space, and then, as I mentioned, the donated land as well. The wetlands as well, obviously, is the pond for Barbers Pond. We had conversations with Marty Wensick of Department of Environmental Management. He's the permitting supervisor for the wetlands program and was the original permitting for it. We had conversations with him, and they said that we do need to get it re-permitted as well, obviously, but it is pending for a new permit. But in the discussions with Mr. Wensick, agreed that everything, given the very reduced scope here, the amount of open space, reduced lots, and amount of treatment that we have for stormwater as well. We have, the driveways all have driveway trenches. All the homes have the dry wells size for the 100-year storm. So they're all pre-designed for the full stormwater, as if it was, still to today's standards, even though the permit was originally back a while ago as well. As I mentioned, we are pending for the new permit as well. Mr. Wensick felt very confident that we could re-permit under the same as the original as well. So that's currently pending. That's kind of the overview. I'd be obviously happy to answer any questions as well.
Is the plan that I have up, is that representative of where we are today as far as the request?
That is the record plan version of it. Yes, there is also a site plan that has all the houses kind of shown. But yes, there's the site plan that we had submitted as well with it. But that shows the houses, it shows the driveways, and it might give a little more context. I'm not sure if that's available.
What's that?
The site plan. We had submitted a set of site plans, not just the record plan, but this is the record plan version.
Yeah.
So we had the site plan as well. That might be a little more helpful to be able to see where the driveways are and such.
I don't know. I have, I don't know if I don't believe it was provided electronically, and I thought I scanned everything. I might have missed that one.
Okay.
I don't appear to have.
Okay. Yeah, that would give a little.
The site plans were in our packet, though.
Okay, good. Thanks, Rich. I don't know if you have access through your email, Jay. I know it's kind of a weird thing through these computer things, but I actually can resend it to you right now if you want.
Well, do you want to share it? Can you have the ability to share?
Can't. No, I can't, unfortunately. Okay. I logged in from an iPad because it's a lot easier than my computer.
Okay.
But I can email it to you right now if that's helpful. I don't know if you're able to do it from that direction, but
I can do that, but I think, I mean, if everyone has the copy, the hard copy in front of them,
okay.
perhaps that'd be okay.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so the driveway itself, I'll give a little bit on the driveway. So it's a private driveway. It's 16 feet wide. There's an existing path there today already, and we're effectively mimicking it in that same vicinity for the most part. We do taper also, so it's 16 feet wide, but then we do taper to 12 feet because there's a piece of a wetland pinch right at the front lot number 1. There's a B series wetland on the northern side of the road. So if you were coming in from the driveway, it would be on your right side when you're coming in. There's the 50-foot perimeter wetland kind of extends into and pinches the piece of the property in that area. So during the wetland permitting originally, we had talked about tapering that just to a 12-foot. But what we did was we also put a small offshoot on the right side of the road. So there's availability for a car to pull off a little bit. If there was ever, if there's somebody coming back on the driveway the opposite direction, they could pull off so that the other person could easily get by as well. But then after it gets outside of the 50-foot buffer area, it goes back to 16 feet for the second half of the driveway. Excellent, thanks, Jay. Yep. So there you go. That's a perfect one. So yeah, I'm talking about the area right on the pinch point where you can see where the pinch point is in there.
Eric, I'll give you control here so you can point it out.
Okay. Can you see that? Can you see that little thing? So right in this area right here. No, is it not working?
No, did you get a notice? Maybe it doesn't work with iPad.
Oh, I got it. Right here. There we
Yep.
go. I got it. It does. I figured it out. Right here, this area right here is what I'm talking about. So this is the pinch point. So as you come in, there's this area right here. You can see this B series wetland that's located right on here, directly adjacent. So the 50-foot perimeter extends to right here. So this piece right here, it's less than a 100-foot segment right in this area that has the 50-foot perimeter. So this tapers to 12 feet in this area. So during the permitting, we also talked about putting just a small offshoot right here. So if a car was coming in from this area here, so if they're coming in here and they see another car come the same direction, rather than just pulling off into the shoulder, they actually have a spot, like a small triage, I would call it, or whatever, to be able to pull over while that person goes, and then they can go in here as well. I mean, we're talking about 4 homes here. It's not like there's a major development on the other side of this, and sight distances is very clear to see. So it's probably no different than any driveway you would see throughout there as well. We do have. Go ahead.
Does that roadway continue?
It does not. So it's just a driveway, and it hold on a second, I did something wrong again. All right, no, it ends right here, and it just, so the last driveway to the house on the right, number 4 goes here, and then to number 3 in the back over here. But there is access to the property. So today there's legal access to the back. So as I mentioned, there's a property back here. That's the land trust land in the back over here. So it's a 38-acre parcel. So access to that is allowed there, but that's an unimproved path. That's not that won't be part of the gravel driveway in this area. Rather, it'll just be an unimproved path. But they do have access to be able to go back to access that land as well. So it's not a drive. It's not for anybody to be driving to, but it is an unimproved path to the land trust's open space conservation land. So this was all approved on the original with the town. It made it all the way through final plan. The only thing that wasn't done was literally recording the plans. I'm not certain why. I'm not sure why it didn't get recorded, but if it was recorded, obviously we wouldn't be here today. But it did make it all the way through final with the town and had all of the necessary permits prior to that. We do know also and recognize at the time there was not soil erosion permits, but we do know now that the town has an ordinance for soil erosion permits. So when these homes and when the drive is ready to be built, we do understand we need to obtain the town soil erosion permits. No question there.
Eric,
go ahead. Yep.
Go ahead. What changed on you? You went back to DEM with this. What changed? Like, what did
Absolutely
you have
nothing. Absolutely nothing.
I know nothing changed on the layout, but why, oh, you just submitted it exactly.
It expired. It had expired. Yeah, it had expired with them.
Okay.
So we just need to get a new permit. We can't, they don't allow extensions after the regular extension process. So they said, yes, you need to go get a new insignificant alteration permit from us. However, we can permit this, no problem. So
Did they ask you to update a RIPTs or anything like that, or did you have to do anything like that?
that was part of the original. So no, we had no, that yes, we have a stormwater. We did the stormwater report, you know, all of the normal things that we had to do originally. Stormwater report, operations and maintenance, because each of these homes has a dry well. Each home has a driveway trench as well. So we're infiltrating the trenches. So yeah, it was the same as what it was before, but it was updated.
Eric, does the public have access to that path that you were referring to that leads to the land trust land?
I don't know. Joe, Mr. Robenheimer is also on this call, the owner, and he might know that answer better. So I'll ask him. Joe, do you happen to know that answer?
Yeah, there's no public access, but they have access to do forestry.
Okay, so other than that, there's really no changes. There's no changes to this plan from what was previously approved.
No, we added, you can see we just added, you know, some of the details that you would see at soil erosion, but we understand we need a separate soil erosion permit when it comes to that time. But we just added a couple items. You can see on the red there, that's just a staging and stockpile area, but those are items that we can talk about at soil erosion permit time.
In that lot 5, that's
an
not
open
the
space lot.
That's not the portion that was transferred to the land trust.
No, it's a completely separate lot to the north, kind of just true north of it. Actually, can you go back to the aerial image?
What?
Sheet 2. There you go. You can see. Hold on a second. These are the parcels right here. So this is the site, just to give everyone kind of context, because we zoomed way out. So this piece is what we were just zoomed in on, where it says site right here. But if you go to sheet 2, you can see these are it's well over 38 because when I quickly looked it up, it was 38 just for this piece right here, but these parcels as well. So these are all the parcels to the north that I'm talking about. So Jay, to answer your question, lot 5 is the open space for this development. There's also one in the front as well. There's a small open space in the front as well, but that's for this development remaining. So that's also additional open space on top of the land that was already donated to the land trust as well.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm sorry, I take that back. So that is all technically all lot 5. Even the front parcel there, the front open space is still part of lot 5. So, so the total open space on site is still 6 acres. Also.
Okay. Anyone have any questions or comments?
Jay, I have one question. This is Chris.
Yeah.
On the record plan, it shows a name Chickashin Way. Is this going to be named Chickashin Way? Because we already have a Chickashin Way. So that'd be very, very concerning to first responders going out there, police, fire, and rescue. So not knowing if it's Chickashin or Chickashin.
Yeah, that is very close. That's a great point. I don't know, actually. I can talk to Mr. to Joe, Mr. Robenheimer. I don't know that we were going to name it at all. It might just be a private drive directly off Barbers Pond, but whatever for safety is best. If it makes sense to not have a Barbers Pond road, I'm sure Mr. Robenheimer can come up with a private road name that doesn't conflict. And I believe it's his intent to kind of have like a family, you know, for his family on here. So I'm sure he could come up with a creative name that is not a conflict if it's felt that a distinct name should be given to it as opposed to just being a driveway.
So, I mean, you could just do like 410 ABCD, Barbers Pond Road.
Yep.
That would work. But if it is going to be assigned a road name, we have to clear it through our office to make sure there's no, as Chris mentioned, there's no similarities with other roads.
Understood, 100%. Agreed. That's the last thing we want, is to have a conflict or something sounds similar on an emergency situation. So no, couldn't agree more.
Very good. Anybody else have any questions, comments?
I remember this when it came before us. Originally, it was very minimal in its impact. And of course it had all that conservation land. So it was considered a pretty good project.
Very good. Anybody want to make a motion to forward this on to the planning board for approval?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Very good. Motion made by Maria, seconded by John. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Very good.
Just one quick clarification. I believe and I'm just clarifying, I believe this goes on the consent agenda
Yes.
okay. I just wanted to make sure. I mean, I'll probably be at that meeting anyway, but I wasn't sure on that end. So, okay,
And if
excellent. Thank
so, would it be contingent upon getting that reapproval from DEM?
Yes, absolutely.
Too many windows open. Give me 1 second. Okay. Next item on the agenda, Coastal Community Overlay District, Carpenter's Beach Meadow, Cottage 280. Request to replace an existing 8-foot by 33-foot trailer with a new 8-foot by 27-foot 10-inch trailer with bump outs located at 854 Matunic Beach Road, Assessors Plat 92-2, Lot 55-280. Corey Pacheco, applicant and the owner. Mr. Pacheco, are you here with us?
Yes, sir. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning.
So give me a second. Why don't you go ahead and explain your request, which seems relatively straightforward, while I try to get the plan up.
Yeah, absolutely. So we purchased site 280, I want to say the beginning of the season, either May or June. So there's a 33 by 8 travel trailer that's there now. We're going to get that demoed. I think I included the demo permit that we do have. And then we're looking to put a brand new trailer on. It's a 27 by 8 with a couple slide outs, like you said. Seems pretty straightforward.
Is this is the location of the trailer, correct?
Yes. Yep. That's it.
Okay. And did that change? Do you see that?
Yeah, so nothing changed on that end. We're keeping the deck as is. It's a 11 by 24 in front of it, and then the 33 by 8 right behind.
And this is a same size as the existing trailer that's there?
The footprint is changing, so it's 264 square feet of living space. That's what's there now. I'm actually losing a square foot. It's going to go to 263.
Okay.
So the slide out, I don't have it in front of me, but I think it's a 12 by 3. So I'm losing, I want to say 6 feet of length, and then the bump out is adding to the square feet. Yeah, there it is. Yep. So it's a 12 by 8 by 32 inch bump out. Yeah, and it's almost 28 feet long.
Very good. Wayne, do you have any comment on this project?
No, we have no comment. It's not in a flood zone, so it's pretty much allowed for replacement.
Very good. Anybody else have any questions or comments? So this is a CCOD application that the TRC has the authority to approve. Would anybody like to make that motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Pacheco.
Awesome. Just to clarify, is that I can go on with the project, correct?
Yes, we're going to, I'm going to provide a decision letter that I will email to you, and I will also forward to Wayne. And I believe with that, you'll be able to carry on with the building permit process.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, last item on the agenda, TRC advisory review, preliminary plan, comprehensive permit, major subdivision, the village at Curtis Corner. Proposed 24 lot subdivision containing 32 dwelling units, including 16 single family dwelling units and 8 duplex structures. Proposed as a comprehensive permit with 8 low and moderate income dwelling units. Assessors plat 40-4, lot 55, located off Curtis Corner Road. 5A Builders LLC, owner and applicant.
If you want us to go ahead?
Sure, go ahead. I was just trying to figure out where my site plan is
Okay.
hidden on the windows.
So, good morning, everyone. I'm John Kenyon, attorney for the applicant, 5A Builders LLC. With us today is Eric Prevey from Dupree Engineering, along with Alex Petrucci, the owner. You may recall this project received master plan approval back in February. It's for property located on Curtis Corner Road. It's just under 30 acres in size, and it's in the R20 zoning district. It was filed as a comprehensive permit proposing the creation of 24 lots, 16 of which would contain single-family residences and 8 would contain duplex structures. And 8 of the duplex units would be designated as affordable. Since the master plan, we've designed the drainage and the soil erosion, and it looks like there hasn't been a whole lot of change to the actual site design, but maybe Eric, if you can go over what has changed since master plan.
Sure. Good morning. For the record, Eric Prevey, registered professional engineer with Dupree Engineering. Yeah, the only changes we had were the front of the property, that pond complex B. You can see that in the southeastern portion there. That actually just, we wanted to make that a little bit bigger when we were looking at the analysis of it. Thank you, Jay. When we were down here in this corner right here. So this pond complex here in the southeast corner here. You may recall from the master plan hearing as well, there was some discussion. This is effectively our only neighbor in this area because there's a large wetland complex that's located along the kind of north to western portion over here. So it's somewhat isolated from abutters in that vicinity. And then obviously we have Curtis Corner Road in front of us, and then Asa Pond and kind of undeveloped land as well. So this was our only neighbor, and she came to the meeting. So we wanted to make sure we beefed up the size of this pond over here in this area in the front. So originally in master plan, this was a smaller looking pond. So what we did was we made it a larger pond to make sure we can infiltrate and treat everything right there on site and have no issues for our abutter. And that just shifted it down a little bit. So it just kind of sprayed down a little bit, but we were able to still kind of just to work the lots a little bit and keep them all as the same size, as effectively the exact same size as what we had before. That's the only kind of layout change that we had, and it was just a slight shift of that lot 1 to make a little more room for the stormwater basin. As you mentioned there, we did all of these stormwater calculations. We are currently pending at DEM freshwater wetlands for a preliminary determination for an insignificant alteration permit. We are holding all 50-foot perimeter wetlands. So as I mentioned, there's a wooded swamp that's located in this portion here. There's a 50-foot perimeter wetland associated with said swamp. We're holding outside of that 50-foot perimeter. We are not touching anywhere within that 50-foot perimeter wetland, so we're holding the full buffer along there. Typical soil excuse me, typical stormwater controls that you would expect with any development. We have 600 feet of roadway. So there's approximately a ridge that's located right here where I'm signaling, about where the stone wall kind of goes through the middle of the property here at lot 17, 18, 19 to lot 4 across the street. That's kind of a ridge in that area. So the southern portion comes towards Curtis Corner, and then the northern portion goes back to the swamp. So we have a high point. We pushed the high point a little bit over to between lots 2 and 20 to try and get some more back to the this larger pond complex that we can treat on site right here before going to the large wetland. And then we have a small watershed here that we're still that would still be coming to Curtis Corner Road today. So what we did for the ones in the front as well for Curtis Corner Road, all of the units in the front have driveway trenches here, and then they have dry wells as well. So you can see, like lot 2, for instance, there's a dry well sized for that house, and then a driveway trench here to infiltrate that directly on site as well. So just to really make sure we were taking care of all the stormwater going towards Curtis Corner Road. There's also out on the street here, there's an existing catch basin here today that's on the street, and it has a flared end that comes to kind of a ditch or a swale on the side of the road. We're actually picking that up. So it's staying there today. It'll be staying there in post-development. So it'll still be doing what it's doing. Oops, I accidentally zoomed in. I don't know how to unzoom. Jay, can you help me unzoom? I apologize. Thank you. So right in this area here, so there's a catch basin that's here. We're actually going to be taking that swale that's in the front here, and then we're able to get it into our pond. So it'll do a normal kind of swale that it does. It'll sit on the edge of the road, but then when it reaches the elevation, it will come into our pond, and it'll come and be treated in the pond here in the front. And then we have an overflow here as well, because there's no true wetland. A lot of times with an overflow of a pond, you need an overflow for a pond. We don't have a wetland or anything to build overflow. We certainly don't want to overflow to our neighbor over here. So we have an overflow structure that comes across the street, and then it'll just, with a kind of a level spreader in this area, would go to for the wetland across the street as well. So I met with Mr. Bourbonnais on site to try to take a look at this location. The biggest question also was the wetland. So you can see the bottom. There's at the bottom of the site there. Yep, perfect. Thank you. That is where the wetland is located. So we actually flagged this wetland across the street here that's associated with Asa Pond. There's a 50-foot perimeter that's associated with that one as well. And we're outside of all those buffers. We do recognize that obviously DEM needs to review and approve all of this. So it needs to approve the limited disturbances on site, and then also this one across the site here. So this is an overflow so that if on the 100-year, greater than 100-year storm event, we're coming across and have a place to go that doesn't go towards our neighbor as well. So that's kind of the overview. Obviously, I'd be glad to answer any other questions. As kind of for anyone else, the duplexes are the affordable units as well. So we labeled them right on here. For instance, I'll give you an example. Lot 4 and Lot 5, those are the duplex units, and those would be owned by the market rate and then rented to the affordable as well. So this was a model that was discussed by Mr. Petrucci at the master plan, very well accepted, and seemed to be a great use of how to be able to incorporate the affordable in with the market rate as well, and how to do it through financing and through the banks. That was an important part as well. So we do have sidewalk on one side of the street as well. That was part of we had requested a waiver for one side of the street at master plan. So we do have along one side of the street. It's on that western side of the street, and that would connect to the existing. There is a existing concrete sidewalk along the northern side, so that would tie right into that northern. So right here, there is an existing concrete sidewalk located along Curtis Corner Road here. So the new sidewalk would come and be able to attach directly to it as well. Standard cul-de-sac, nothing special in the cul-de-sac. We do have as I mentioned, we're maintaining the existing roadside. So there's kind of a roadside swale in this whole area. So we are maintaining it through that whole area, and we have a combined driveway for lot 23 and 24. So that was important. That's similar to what the earlier development did. There was some frontage lots that were done over here, but so we have a single driveway here just for these 2 units to combine. So there's only one curb cut there. And then it has we have a drainage culvert that goes underneath to maintain that swale that's there today. Also, we're picking up that existing swale also. So this swale here on this portion of the road also gets picked up and then comes into the pond too. So we're taking everything from the roadside that was previously untreated, other than possibly a catch basin sump, just that's not, it's providing some treatment, but not a lot. And then picking it up, putting it into the pond before it's released as well.
I believe lots 22, 23, and 24 at Conceptual were accessed by a shared driveway to the rear of those structures, correct?
I don't think so. I think on an early iteration we had that, but I think on the approved plan itself, I believe that had always showed the shared driveway. And I'm just I'm opening it now. I believe that it always said we didn't. I don't believe we changed the. I don't believe we changed that. No, yeah, that was shown. I just opened the approved master plan layout, and 23, 24 were shown as a combined driveway, even at the approved master plan level.
Okay. And I did notice that it looks like the lot sizes have been modified slightly. Majority of the single families have either maintained the area or increased, but the duplexes seem to have been reduced.
Slightly, yeah. Yep, that was, exactly. We still left room. Every duplex has room for 4 parking spots. So you can see the ones that have been demarcated as duplex, make sure that the driveway is long enough. For instance, lot 2, lot 2 is not a duplex unit. So there is room for 2 off-street parking spots here outside of the right of way. So there's 2, for instance, whereas lot 4, which is a duplex, you can see there's room for 2 times 2 for a double stack of 2 times 2 to have 4 off-street parking spots for those duplexes as well. So we made sure that every duplex lot had room for 4 parking spots off-street. That was very important. The other one, go ahead.
I was going to say, are garages anticipated?
Good. I'm not sure. Alex is actually on the call. I'm not sure. Alex, are you able to, do you have your audio video queued up for this? I saw that he was on as one of the people. It might be a matter of muting and unmuting. I'm not sure, but
Can you hear me?
yeah, I got you, Alex.
There I am. What was the question?
Garages, whether garages would be anticipated.
Some of the homes will definitely have. There's going to be like 3 different models, basically designed to be on the same foundation, so that we can put the foundations in, and as the properties sell, they can decide which ones are going to have garages, which ones aren't. And the foundation ones that do have the garages, obviously, there'll be probably 1 or 2 plans just for that particular house. It's all market driven, obviously.
Yeah, so the only other things that I would anticipate as general questions, obviously, would be the landscaping. So John Carter is finalizing that landscape plan, and he should be done this week. So I'm sure we will absolutely provide that for review. If you recall, we had discussed putting the trees outside of the right of way. We got the reduced right of way to 40 feet. I think there was a discussion also at the meeting that public works, public safety doesn't typically want the trees within the right of way anyway. So that was one of the reasons. So we'll be providing that detailed landscape plan as well. That's forthcoming. Actually, one other thing too was there was a discussion with the master plan as well about looking at possibly a walking path to go through the town. So you can see from, let me get the cursor again, up in this northeast corner here. This actually connects to the police complex, the public safety complex on the corner of Curtis Corner and Kingstown Road. So there was a discussion. It was one of the conditions to look and see if there could be possibly like a walking path to be able to get over to Route 1 to Kingstown Road, possibly to the bus station and such. We did discuss with the public safety complex, and they were not amenable to us having pedestrians walking through the property. So we can provide anything that needs to be on that as well.
That correspondence was forwarded to our office. I do have a copy of it in the file.
Excellent, thank you.
Very good. Does anyone have any questions? Any further questions?
Yes, I have a few. Can someone remind me what the situation is with this project with regard to sewers?
It is to be sewered. There is public sewer. There's public sewer out in Curtis Corner Road. Gravity sewer that goes to the east, and it connects up on Kingstown Road right at the intersection with Kingstown Road and Curtis Corner Road. There's a 12-inch main in there. This is all gravity. We don't have any E1 grinder pumps or anything that are necessary. We're able to get it all through gravity in our internal road.
Okay. I had a number of questions regarding sewers. So we're still awaiting the sewer feasibility study. When are we going to see that?
Okay.
And you got to do the downstream carrying capacity analysis that we talked about.
Yeah, I had provided at master plan some level. I mean, if I recall, we were provided the water records for all of the upgradient properties, and we did the analysis on that and looked at that. I think we were a 1% change with this development of 32 units. It would be a 1% capacity change. We were at, I believe, we put a max stay factor of times 10 on the average throughout the whole year. And it was still below 60% capacity existing today. And we would be a 1% change with this. This is, but yeah, I mean, the downstream, just to clarify as well, the downstream is literally one property because it's going to Kingstown Road 108. So and I believe, if I'm not mistaken from previous discussions, there wasn't concern on the 108 portion of it. The 108 portion of it, the Kingstown Road, sorry, I keep using those interchangeably, but the Kingstown Road was not of concern. So we're talking about from this road east to Kingstown Road, which is about 400 feet.
That's correct. I don't recall seeing that analysis, Eric. So can you get that to us? And we still need a sewer feasibility study. So a couple questions specific to sewers. At about, Jay, can you put up sheet 10? Is that possible?
Yeah.
Of 15, that's the utility sheet. So you've got a vertical curve there at looks like station 1+70. Why are you filling so much there?
I just want to get to, I want to get to the same one here. Hold on 1 minute, please. Which sheet did you say, John?
So at station 1+70, you've got quite a fill there, probably about 5 or 6 feet. Because we needed to cut off. We wanted to cut off, as I mentioned at the beginning, the existing watershed today is approximately back at, just to give you a station number, it's approximately back at 3, back at that stone wall. And we didn't want that watershed continuing to go there today. It goes to that front part that's effectively just a sump on the side of the road. There's no wetland. It doesn't continue. There's no culvert that goes across the street today. It would effectively just be all sitting in that roadside swale. So what we did was we needed to get up as quickly as possible to try to push more to the back with the swamp and not just the swamp, but a larger treatment area where we can get that pond and such. So we had to get up as quickly as possible. So you can see, actually, that's great, Jay. So you can see, so here's the road today, obviously, and then it comes down to this kind of swale, I'll call it, whatever we want to call it, and then it kind of starts to come back up, but it keeps coming up. So what we wanted to do was we wanted to take away a piece of the watershed that was sitting here and coming here today
and push it to the back as much as possible. So that's what we were looking at.
So I'm trying to visualize this. Is it going to be like an elevated road and then the lots are 5 feet lower than the road itself?
Nope.
Those,
nope.
those abutting lots? So
nope. No. So
are you filling
correct.
those lots as well?
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. And we have a swale in the back, actually, on the eastern portion. Jay, if you could quickly go back to sheet 7, please. There we go. So it's okay. All right. So yeah. So you can see, yeah, with the roadway there. I'm sorry. Yeah, with the roadway. So
go ahead.
So yeah, they are filled for the front to be able to have that. Maybe depending on what the layout is, if it would be a walkout, we did it as if it wasn't a walkout. But what we have is we again same thing. We wanted to make sure this is our only abutter, and she had concerns about stormwater. So we had elevated it to be able to take as much to the back, and then also we have a small swale here. So we don't want anything coming off the back of our units going onto her property. So we have a swale that's picking up all of this as well and bringing it right into our pond as well. So it has a lot to do with stormwater. Clearly, it would not be preferable for us to spend Alex's money and fill. It's not preferable to do such things like that, but we're doing it from a a stormwater perspective to make sure that we're picking everything up and treating it on site.
So can you flatten those slopes? I'm a little concerned because that sewer main at station 1+7 is going to be relatively deep where it can be shallower. Can you flatten the slopes on that vertical curve coming in from Curtis Corner and then going towards the end of the cul-de-sac?
The issue with that is the further we push, I'll say no, and I'll say why. So on the western side, so the large swamp side, where we govern all of our drainage by what's the lowest elevation you can get to still drain there, right? So outside of the wetland, I can't go in the 50-foot perimeter wetland. So we set that elevation of where we can daylight out to. By the time we set that, we set the pond, we make sure that we have all the proper separations to groundwater table to properly treat all that stormwater. It kind of sets the road at an elevation that on that side that it needs to be. So it needs to come in, and even if we go at the 1%, so that's what we did, is you can see from the profile on that end of things after the cul-de-sac, we're going right at 1%. We're going as shallow as possible. So that roadway grade is set by our pond elevation of how low we can get. So we're going at 1%. If I flatten out the early portion of the stations, so that 4%, if that went even lower, that pushes my high point further and further back. And then I'm not able to pick up as much. I'm trying to push as much to the back. I don't want it in the front.
So I'm not suggesting, so where you've got the TOA slope, I guess at the beginning of the road at station, I don't know, it's going to be about -30. Leave that elevation the same there and leave it the same at elevation at station 600. Just flatten the slope.
But what I'm saying is, if I flatten that 4%, for instance, if I made like a 1% on the left side on the early stations around 0 to 200 or so, that pushes that high point way over. It pushes the high point. I no longer have that.
Flatten the slope on the backside as well.
Less than 1%.
We can talk about that. We can talk about it more offline. I'll get Rich involved.
Okay. Yeah, we were holding 1% because we felt that that's typically a good roadway grade. We don't usually want to go less than 1% on that end.
Okay, John, they're already at 1% on that exiting slope from that vertical curve. If they flatten the curve coming in, it pushes that vertical curve over, and there's not enough storage volume for water up front. So that volume, in order to get it to go to the back, that vertical curve needs to be further up front. That's why he's got it up front like that. Okay.
So another question is, you've got a relatively steep pitch for that 8-inch PVC, 0.5%. Can you flatten that slope and perhaps have a drop so the cut's not as deep for us later if there's going to be any work?
Yeah, no problem. Yep, that works.
And you're not showing the telemetry and power on the plan view. Can you add those as well?
Got it.
And then you're showing the sewer connections into the manholes. They can't be into the manholes.
Understood. I saw that right after we sent it, so I apologize. Yep, I recognize that.
Couple more things on drawing 13. You've got the road cross section, but it's where the road is going straight. Can you show a road cross section where you have the manhole pushed over tight against the gutter line?
Yep.
I want to see what the separation is between the utilities, where those where the sewer main is up tight against the water main, and where the manholes are up tight against the outside of the curve. This is one of the problems with reducing the right of way width. You start jamming utilities together.
Yeah, but we didn't reduce the road size. We were to reduce the right of way. So the water, sewer, and drainage were all going to fit in the road.
The more right of way there is more room for utilities.
Right, but not for water, sewer. I mean, typically we're not allowed to put water in a shoulder. By Suez, water is not going to allow it in the shoulder. And sewers typically, obviously, under the road, drainage is in the road. So it's not. I agree. If we were talking about underground utilities that can, or gas even, that can get a little bit cramped because those are shoulder items. But none of these items are shoulder items. But I can give you an extra cross section. Yes.
Okay. In natural gas, yes, no.
Well, I believe it's out there, so I need to check on that.
So you need to show the natural gas as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have room in the left shoulder, for lack of a better way of putting it, the left shoulder.
Okay.
We could put that over, because it's not like we're conflicting with street trees either, because the street trees will be on the private property.
I'm just saying, if you're adding natural gas, and I don't have an objection, you need to make sure that you got the separation. And
Understood.
I'm very concerned that that's not happening. And then lastly, for your sidewalks, you need to carry those through the driveway. We don't want the sidewalks stopping at either. They need to be carried through the driveway.
Yeah, so I apologize on the colors of it. They're all the same in a way. So yes, they're both asphalt. So we're proposing an asphalt sidewalk, not a concrete sidewalk. So they're all shown as it looks different in color, but it effectively in the field on site will look the same.
So again, not to be redundant, we need the sewer feasibility study is pretty critical.
Okay.
I have a few questions. Will you be able to provide the board with information relative to the approximate amount of fill that you're adding to the site as a whole?
Sure. Yeah, we can do a cut fill.
Okay.
The thing that's missing on that is, or it'll be part of that cut fill that you can see is you remove for all these foundations as well. So it's, even though we do have fill, we do also have towards the back, it's a little bit of a cut as well. You could see that from the profile. The back is a cut, the front's a little bit of a fill. We take out all the units themselves, so the units have foundations that we are able to take out. We do also have selective materials that we have to put in anyway, right? So all the sub base of the road is all material that needs to be select material anyway. So when we looked at it, we were looking effectively at close to balance. I know it doesn't visually look that way, but from this one profile view, we were looking effectively at balanced with, again, knowing that there have to be some select materials that have to come in here.
Okay. And this is kind of a general planning thing, and I understand that this applicant was not, I believe he was not the owner previously, but again, cutting out 4 lots that were part of the site as a whole does not make for good planning. I know I say this when it happens because I think it's something we should be avoiding, whether we have to do a phase design or something so that this piecemeal kind of development doesn't happen. Question about the traffic study, which I do have from master plan. I do not recall if it considered the additional impact to Curtis Corner Road with the addition of a new high school.
It did, and I'd have to fine tune on that too. But I recall that it did. Yeah, there was a blurb in there about the impact of the possible increased traffic of switching it to the high school. I'm fairly confident on that.
So can you make sure that's updated if necessary, given the fact that most high schools,
I'll make sure that it is.
They all have their own vehicles.
Yep. If it isn't, then I'll make sure that we at least have a traffic memo on that.
The duplexes in the had you thought at all about spreading them out a little bit more? You know, the requirement for having some kind of consistency for the affordable units and integration of such, and spreading them out seems like it would be better.
We
You've
felt
got
that we,
three, and then the kind of the central portion, you've got two there, you know, if
yeah,
you
we
could
did have
have
the
it.
lots that seemed from the layout perspective to have a little more room for them. So for instance, we tried to spread them out. I mean, we thought we thought that we did between 4, 5, 6, and then we have, 7 and 8, then you have 9, 10. Then you have 14, we thought they were. It's not like it's 1 through 8 all on one side or anywhere, but
And
we felt they would be
yeah.
well incorporated.
Lot 6 looks to be fairly large, but Jay had mentioned that you decreased some of the other duplex lots. How much did they decrease? I don't have the old, and
yeah,
why?
When I looked at it, it varies. Some were minor, some were considerable, relatively speaking, but the overall design changes, so it's kind of hard to compare apples to apples, but
Right.
they were tightened up. Overall, they were reduced and tightened up.
Okay.
The other thing
Yeah.
we showed on that real quickly is I believe Elise had a comment at it was like lot 6, for instance, the duplex lot. We showed that limited disturbance still tucked in. So lot 6 is a big lot. You can see it still kind of has a large area, but we tucked that all in to give them a recreation yard, but nothing that clearly not clearing that whole lot. So that was something that we wanted to make sure to incorporate as well. Tuck it as tight, but we still want to give them a recreation lot. We don't want it to be a 10-foot backyard. So that's what we were trying to balance as well.
And then also the conversation about the walking path. Had you considered a walking path that maybe went along the north-south perimeter and then came out so that it wouldn't go through the public services or public safety complexes parking lot? So it would be along the edge, which might be more acceptable to them.
We hadn't discussed that. We thought, we hadn't discussed that. By the time we had the sidewalk, and then the sidewalk on Curtis Corner does extend all the way down to Kingstown Road. So we felt we were giving a good pedestrian area, to be frank.
And what sort of access, if any, would the residents be able to have into the open space, which is essentially the wetland?
There's not a great access to it, to be honest with you. No, and it's not it wouldn't be an open space that we could do something with. Sometimes you have swamp complexes that or wetland features that you can still work some pedestrian paths into. This does not have anything that we think we could ever get a pedestrian path through of any nature, unfortunately.
Which is unfortunate, because basically you're taking a third of the land, cramming all the units into that, calling the rest open space, but it's just kind of there and it doesn't really serve to benefit the residents. All they have is, a lot of lots pretty close to one another and a central road, and there's no, unless you guys have some amazing landscaping that you're going to do somewhere, I don't know where that would be, there's no internal green space for any of the residents.
Yeah, that wasn't. Yeah, we were going for more of a village feel where it's kind of all up snug and that's. We were going for the village. We weren't looking to do a spaced out open space kind of conservation development. The only other thing that we did mention. Okay.
Eric, along those lines, though, how do you access that pond for maintenance purposes?
Between lots 13 and 14, we did have hold on a second. We had an area shown because it would go between lots 13 and 14 would be our area to go through there. One of the discussions we had at master plan was, and I'm not sure what the feel would be, was also whether or not that large swamp that is up gradient from Mesa Pond, we're showing it as open space because effectively it's not usable for the lots too much either. But there was a discussion of whether or not it would be, if the town would want it because internal to the wetland itself is a floodplain. So there's no floodplain directly on any of these properties anywhere near the site, like any near the development, but there is a floodplain associated with that swamp. And there was a discussion of whether or not, rather than making the pond complex as part of that open space, if there was a separate lot, and then if that other lot would want to be as part of the town just for stormwater mitigation purposes or things like that, you'd be able to have access and control of it was a discussion as well.
Back to your comment about looking for a village design. I mean, village designs have to have some kind of amenities. They usually have some kind of green space that is involved, like a village central green or something. My fear is that this is just becoming a very urbanized design and has no village amenity at all. You're going to clear this land, and this is going to be, I think you're going to hear quite a bit from the community about this type of design. I don't think this is what most people have in mind for village planning. Is there going to be any kind of buffer to the one neighbor that you have?
We would provide the general screening that we would. I'm not sure if we were going to do, I don't think we were going to do fencing, but we would at least provide a vegetative screen on the backside of that swale. So we do have a swale on that east side to be able to make sure to pick up all the stormwater there. But I would assume we would do some buffering, at least along the property in the front. Okay.
And since we're preliminary, what about the looks and the 3 different styles, I think, of the houses?
I didn't think that was something that needed to be provided. That's in the Route 1 district. You do need to provide architectural, but I don't believe
Well, I don't mean in detail, but just a general kind of look and feel of what.
Alex, do you think there's a possibility of being able to at least get some sort of a graphic or idea for the planning board meeting so that the planning board members know what you're thinking?
Yeah, we can have the architect do some drawings.
Just something to give them the feel of what they're going to look like, because right now they look like rectangles on a site plan. So just to give them the feel of what you're thinking, because yeah.
Well, remember, let's back up for a minute here. Before we start talking about all these other stuff they want to do, this fancy, that fancy. The whole idea of subdivision is to be able to get some housing in this town that people can afford. And that's the whole idea of the subdivision from the beginning. Now, if you want to start adding fencing and open space and places for people to play, we're going to go into a whole different market. Because remember, every time you spend $1, the dollar gets put onto the housing as the housing prices rise. And this is the problem with the town of South Kingston. That's why your housing is so expensive, because there's no projects that is put together to help the people, especially the working class people. Sure, the New Yorkers could come down here and spend, they'll spend $600,000, and to them it's cheap. But you're driving your own people out of town. And that's the whole idea of subdivision. If you remember correctly, this is what my pitch was from the beginning. So I don't want to hear about any of this additional stuff. This is not going to happen in the subdivision. The subdivision is going to be built as an affordable subdivision so that people, working class people, can buy these houses and young couples can get in. That's my whole idea. And it will be very, very attractive when I'm done. The houses are close. They're going to be like little villages, like little cottages. They're going to be very pretty. They're not going to be built ugly. They're going to be, peaks and shutters and asphalt driveways and nice landscaping around the houses. They're going to be very cute. The whole idea of this thing is to try to, and again, this is a village. I'm creating a little village. And by doing this, I should be able to keep the prices for the working people. And that's what I'm trying to do. And for the young couples, this whole thing started remember, I just want to remind everybody that this whole thing started from young couples talking to me about housing and telling me what price range they're in. And I'm saying, I can't do it. There's nothing, it's impossible. That's when I started getting the idea that we needed to stop building some 2-bedroom homes, smaller housing for these young couples and the older people that are moving down from the big house. And they need something that they can afford so they can go to Florida for the winter and stay up in South Kingston. That was the whole idea of this project. And let's not lose that direction, please. That's all I gotta say. As far as getting drawings, I get on my architect, do some front drawings of what the houses are gonna look like, the ones with garages. Some of these might have garages under. Obviously, I don't think that they're gonna be side-by-side garages because of the size of the properties. But I think there's gonna be some, it depends on the way the land is graded, which ones I could put garages under. It might be a 1-car, or it might be a 2-car. But that's to be decided. I have to look into that.
That would be helpful to have some drawings, because I do recall that you specifically said that they would look nice and have a cottage feel, which is important, particularly when you have so many. And I also remember you calling this development as a whole market rate affordable. So how does that reflect upon how affordable the units that are not the low mod units will be?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you just said.
So you called this this project as a whole market rate affordable and said that they would all be affordable, even though technically only 25% are required to be affordable with regard to the Low Mod Act. So how affordable will the other units be? Because they don't fall under that criteria.
What I did say to you is I want to create a market rate affordable. That was
right. A bit of an oxymoron, but.
Okay. And what I'm trying to say is that's why we went from 3 bedrooms, 2 stories, 2-car garages to a simple 2-bedroom home where we can get the price down where it can be, quote, a market rate affordable. So let's say, I can't give you a number. I don't know it right now. I could never tell you what the prices are going to be. Who knows where the material is going to be in 6 months from now, or what the roads are going to cost. You know, it's all bills into the pricing. But I can tell you that there will be under the market that's going on in town now. And let's say the average market right now is, call it 500,000, just use that for a number. These are going to be at least 10 to 15% less than those pricing. They got to be somewhere. I'm shooting for the high trees and low fours, if it can be possible. I don't know if it's going to be possible, but that's where I want to be. I want to be able to take and say to a couple, hey, you're renting over at South County Commons in that condo in the project. You're paying $1,600, $1,800 a month for rent. I could put you in a new home for very close to the same amount of money that you can build equity on for the future. You keep it for 5 years. You have a couple of children, just like I did. I came out of a 2-bedroom raised ranch with 1 kid and a wife making $6,500 a year teaching school to a $5 million home on the water in Narragansett. How did I do it? I bought a house, I fixed it up, I lived in it, I went to the next one. And I went up and up, I went up and I went up. Nobody gave it to me. And this is, you got to give the kids a foundation to start off. If you can't, they can start off with a foundation. A smart couple can make it and get going in life. Save money, have money for schools, for the kids when they grow up. College. you can't bury these children from the beginning. That's what I'm trying to accomplish.
I think that's all the questions that I have, but I do want to reiterate the fact that as part of the master plan approval, the research into the walking path was in there, and I think it's worth looking into it again and seeing if you can do something along the perimeter.
Well, you got to understand, which is today, as if you go there, you'll notice that they use the sidewalk going across the front of that property. You see a lot of people walking dogs, walking children, some young couples that are coming from the western side of this property. They use this walkway. And by us putting a sidewalk into our property, the people in the property can still use that same sidewalk and walk along and right across in front of the police station. Obviously, the police don't want anybody walking through their property, but I will look into anywhere else to try to get something through. I will look at it again.
That'd be great.
If it's possible. I mean, I don't have no problem. It's not an expensive thing to create. I mean, it's a little piece of stone, plant some trees, make a little walkway. But I got to have permission, obviously, from property owners on that western corner to be able to get across. We've checked with the police department. Now we'll check with I think there's one more piece of property over there that we could talk to and see if it's possible to get across. And I'll do that.
That would be great, like the walking path that was part of the commons. That was a really important factor.
Being the one I donated to you?
Yep.
Thank you.
Jay, I have a couple of questions. Eric, from that lot 1 where the detention pond is, I think because of those steep slopes and the big change in grade, that perhaps putting a fence around that entire area would be perhaps a good idea, especially from lot 1. I mean,
for the pond, for safety of the pond. Okay, yeah. We had showed a little bit along the roadside. You can barely see it on the. You can see that we put something, a little something here, probably just like at least a split rail fence. It probably could be decorative anyway, but just something to keep from, we graphically showed something there that would be both could probably be like an entrance feature and also deterrent for that. So you can see we demarcated that there. I see how you're saying possibly extend
right
along here. So yep, understood.
Jay, will the affordables be delineated in the decision as to when they get built?
Yes.
Okay. And as far as the open space land, I think it may be worth looking into. Perhaps there was a mention of a donation to the town, because it looks like that does abut the overall large piece of land, which is part of Curtis Corner. And perhaps that can be utilized as part of the relocation of the high school. I know that we're talking about a lack of space for fields and expansion. I don't know whether any of that is usable, but I think it's worth investigating it at this stage to see if possibly it could get donated to the town, because town of South Kingstown land wraps around that north and western perimeter of this property.
Jay, could you go to the aerial real quickly? Because Wayne, I think you make a good point. I don't feel confident on the feasibility of anything for fields. You can see pretty even from the aerial, you can see that it's pretty obviously swamp. It's a completely darker color. It's a swamp, but the thought on that was that it's a good size swamp that is up gradient from Mesa Pond. So thought at least from a stormwater perspective, because it's up gradient, there is also a culvert that comes across the street there. It gives a little more control as to if you need it for whatever reason. So that was the thought behind it, is that anytime you can have land that can be controlled for stormwater, help basically to other pieces. That was the thought, is that it could also, you know, help in that regard.
All right, thanks, Eric. That's all I have, Jay.
Very good. Anyone else have any questions or comments that have not been brought up?
Jay, I have one thing. I'm Chris. Eric, you didn't show any fire hydrants on the plans, and it looks like the closest one is about 1,000 feet away.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Let me, I'll talk with you offline and make sure that we have whichever ones need to be, wherever they need to be, whatever makes sense for you. If there's, we have one at the end of the cul-de-sac, but that may not be the best location for you. There's one right in front of lot 15. We used it kind of as a combination blow off as well, because when it's the end of the line, a lot of times you can use it kind of as a clean blow off area. But we can do whatever's needed, obviously.
Oh, I do see it now. Okay. I didn't see it.
All right. That's a very good point. I'm going to check with my insurance companies, because if for one more extra fire hydrant, if it will cut the kid's insurance, because I understand it. If the fire hydrant is so many feet from a resident, there's a different rate. So I want to find out what that would be to help the property owners. If that will help them on insurance, to put one more fire hydrant in would be more than well worth it.
Yeah, whatever, in summary, whatever the town wants for that as well, because I mean, there's also an annual fee that the town ends up having to pay for maintenance of those and such. So whatever that balance is for, you know, finding what's the right amount of hydrants, we're certainly not gonna, not gonna question that.
How many you got in there now?
One at the terminus, right at the end of the cul-de-sac. And again, that might not be the best position, because you know, if to go past the fire and come back to it for lot number 2, it may be in a better location. So I'll work with the fire department to make sure that wherever they want them, we can make sure. It may make sense to put one between lot 3 and 4, who knows, or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Is there one on this corner road?
There is, yeah.
It's about 1,000 feet away from
Yeah,
the entrance, the proposed entrance.
Yeah, we're probably gonna need another one.
Yep. That may be the place to put it, right at the entrance as well. That way, because that way you can hook up and keep going.
Okay.
Okay, anyone else? Any other questions or comments?
Okay, this will remain a private road.
No, this is proposed as a public road.
All right, only because I saw it said private on the plans.
Oh, it shouldn't say private. Oh, it does. You're right. Okay, I'll get that corrected. No, this should not be a private road. Thanks, Wayne.
You're welcome.
So Eric, just so you know, if it's a private road, the homeowners are responsible for paying for the hydrants. If it's a public road, the United should pay for them. So
yeah, we're not planning private. That's just a mistake. It should be public. Also, there's a lot of other implications too. We need a master meter of water we'd have a whole water connection issue, and there'd be a lot of other. So no, we're proposing as public. That also for affordability as well, right? I mean, if it's a private road, that we then push those expenses onto the homeowners. So that's not what we're trying to do with this development.
Hey, Eric, does that cul-de-sac geometry comport with what we have for turning radiuses?
Yes, it is. That's what we use. We use the town outside radii.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, anyone else? So I think through this discussion, we've identified that sewer feasibility needs to be completed. I believe we're waiting on some landscaping plans that John Carter is working on. We discussed the possibility of providing additional fire hydrants to the development. Alex was going to look into getting some designs on the architectural, some architectural schematics on the proposed options in the development and what they would look like. Also going to investigate the possibility of putting some type of walking path, exiting development somewhere at some point, wherever it's feasible. And several other minor changes to the plan, such as the private right-of-way shown there, and some fencing around the Pond Complex B area. With that, this project has not been reviewed for completeness as of yet. Eric, I'll be in touch regarding some of these items and the timing of when you want to submit them, when you think you can be able to get them to me. So I'd rather do the review at once than do it twice. But with that, does anybody want to entertain a motion?
Also, Eric is going to give us the amount of cut and fill, and he's going to double check the traffic study.
Yep, for the
Correct.
high school. Yep, that's what I noted as well.
And there's a number of edits that need to be made to the utilities plan.
Yep, I noted those, John. Yeah, natural gas cross sections. Yep, I wrote them all down as we were talking about them.
So Jay, you're looking for a motion to continue?
At this point, I mean, do you, again, the completeness is not done yet. Are the outstanding items enough to warrant it to come back to TRC?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just not comfortable. I know we struggle with, trying to keep the economy going and keeping people working, but I'm not comfortable until we get the sewer feasibility study and the more detailed utility plan. So I'd make a motion to continue.
I'll second that.
Very good. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Okay. Eric, like I said, I'll be in touch in regard to the timing of some of these updated information so we can try to coordinate the completeness review on this as efficiently as possible.
Good.
Okay. And with that, that was our last agenda item. Thank you all for attending this morning. And a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And we are adjourned. It is now 10:20.
Thanks, Jay.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thanks,
everybody.
everyone.
Have a good day.
Two.